There's a high-level, almost invisible chess match unfolding right now inside WNBA front offices, and it's separating the true builders of future dynasties from executives chasing social media hype. Welcome back to Court Central, where we break down the real, unfiltered business behind professional women's basketball. What we're witnessing is a major shift in how championship teams are built. Two major storylines are exposing the growing gap between winning attention online and actually building a title contender. Out west, the expansion draft sent a quiet but powerful message across the league. The Golden State Valkyries, entering with a clean slate and full flexibility, made headlines not just for who they picked, but for who they intentionally passed on. Their decision to overlook Phoenix Mercury's Sophie Cunningham wasn't random. It reflects a deeper, data-driven approach that's starting to define modern roster building. At the same time, in the Midwest, another situation is gaining momentum. Reports suggest the Indiana Fever may stick with their current core around Caitlin Clark. In a league that's quickly becoming more competitive and aggressive, choosing patience over action could be a bold move, or a costly mistake. Today we're breaking down why Golden State passed on a major marketing opportunity, and whether Indiana's run-it-back approach could backfire in a rapidly evolving league.
A lot of people don't understand when it comes to KK that KK Timpson's stock is in the gutter. Like, it is in the gutter. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, teams will take her based on potential. Like, KK Timpson's...
To fully grasp the significance of what happened in the expansion draft, you have to understand the often dangerous gap between perceived market value and actual on-court impact. For the past few seasons, the WNBA's marketing engine has pushed Sophie Cunningham as one of the league's most recognizable and magnetic personalities. The image has been clear. She's the enforcer, a reliable perimeter shooter, a player with viral pregame fashion, and a fiery, unapologetic presence at the core of the Phoenix Mercury. Off the court, she's built a strong personal brand that draws attention from fans and sponsors alike. On the court, she carries herself like a cornerstone of a competitive culture, vocal, confident, and always in the spotlight. So naturally, when the Golden State Valkyries entered the expansion draft with the challenge of building a franchise from the ground up, most people assumed her name would be near the top of their list. After all, expansion teams don't just need talent, they need identity. They need recognizable faces to sell tickets, energize a new fan base, and establish credibility from day one. Cunningham seemed like the perfect blend of marketability and experience, someone who could bridge the gap between business and basketball. But when Golden State finally stepped up with the entire league watching, they made a statement that cut through all of that noise. They didn't follow the hype. They didn't chase the headlines. Instead, they made a deliberate and calculated decision to pass on one of the most visible names available. This wasn't a mistake or an oversight. It was intentional. It was a clear signal that this front office is prioritizing data, fit, and long-term sustainability over popularity. In a league where perception can sometimes overshadow production, the Valkyries chose substance over spotlight. And in doing so, they delivered a powerful message. Building a true contender requires discipline, not distractions.
Who will give you the same energy if they're a starter or if they're a bench player. Who will play the one if needed. She can't dribble. But like, there are certain matchups where she can be a secondary ball handler because she's like, her IQ, she can play the one. Like, she looked really good playing the one in preseason, and then I think it was the Connecticut Sun full court press.
You have to understand who's actually in charge in Golden State. This isn't a typical expansion franchise trying to figure things out on the fly. It's an organization built on the same ruthless, data-driven, championship-first philosophy that powered the Golden State Warriors dynasty under Joe Lacob. Their approach is calculated, disciplined, and far ahead of the curve when it comes to player evaluation. They're not interested in Instagram followings, tunnel fashion, or viral trash talk clips. None of that factors into how they build a roster. Their decisions are rooted in advanced analytics, defensive versatility, consistency under pressure, locker room fit, and long-term upside within a system. Every move is about sustainability and winning at the highest level, not attention. So when they evaluated Sophie Cunningham, they weren't looking at the persona or the spotlight that follows her. They focused on the details that don't always make headlines, stretches of inconsistency in high-pressure moments, defensive lapses, and the gap gap between her on-court production and the noise surrounding her brand. From their perspective, those factors matter far more than popularity. Building a locker room from scratch is one of the most fragile processes in professional sports. It requires players who are fully committed to the system, willing to sacrifice individual attention for collective success. Introducing a strong, high-profile personality into that environment can be a risk if it doesn't align perfectly with the culture being built. Golden State's decision to pass on Cunningham wasn't just bold, it was intentional and strategic. They chose substance over spectacle, structure over hype, and in doing so, they sent a clear message across the league. The days of valuing brand over performance are fading. Modern front offices are prioritizing disciplined, two-way players who fit into a winning system. This move challenges the perception that marketability alone can secure a place in a team's future. More importantly, it shows that Golden State is focused on building something lasting, something defined by championships, not headlines.
Myth, probably. And Jesus, KK Timpson, just, I don't even know how to describe KK on defense. But like, Sophie Cunningham she doesn't switch off. She doesn't switch off at all. She plays hard. She is disciplined, like we saw.
While Golden State is setting a clear tone with a disciplined, forward-thinking approach, attention quickly shifts to a very different situation in the Midwest, one that raises serious concerns about direction and urgency. The Indiana Fever are in possession of arguably the most transformative asset the sport has ever seen in Caitlin Clark. Her impact goes far beyond the court. She's reshaped the league's visibility, economics, and global reach in real time. When you have a player of that magnitude, the usual timeline for building a contender no longer applies. This isn't a slow, multi-year development process. The championship window opens immediately the moment a generational talent like that steps onto the floor. Every decision from that point forward has to reflect urgency and intent. That's why the recent rumors surrounding Indiana's strategy are so concerning. There's growing belief that the front office may choose to run it back with the current roster. The reasoning isn't entirely baseless. The team improved significantly late in the season, broke through into playoff contention, and showed signs of developing chemistry. From a traditional perspective, allowing a young core to grow together can seem like the smart, patient move. But the modern WNBA doesn't reward patience the way it once did. The league has become faster, more competitive, and far more aggressive in how teams pursue success. Standing still, even with good intentions, can quickly become a major disadvantage. In this environment, patience isn't always a strength. It can quietly turn into vulnerability. And for a team holding a once-in-a-generation player, that's a risk that could define not just a season, but an entire era.
You cannot tell me that Sophie Cunningham is that much worse than Bridget Carlton. She's a better shooter than Bridget. Same height. I think Sophie's a better passer. I think Sophie moves it at the ball better. Carlton's a better defender. I think they are very close to being an equivalent as players. And
let's strip this down and look at the Indiana Fever with complete honesty. Yes, they made the playoffs. Yes, their offense can be explosive when they control the tempo. But the moment they stepped into postseason basketball, where the intensity spikes, whistles get tighter, and the game turns physical, they were clearly exposed. They didn't just lose, they were outmatched in toughness, physicality, and presence. The roster, as currently built, simply didn't have the grit or personnel to respond when games turned into battles instead of track meets. Caitlin Clark in particular went through a rookie season unlike anything we've seen. She was targeted relentlessly, picked up full court, face guarded, bumped off screens, and hit with constant physical pressure designed to wear her down. And to her credit, she handled it with composure while still producing historic numbers. But in the process, a major flaw in Indiana's structure became impossible to ignore. This team doesn't have an enforcer. There's no physical presence, no intimidating frontcourt player who can set the tone, absorb contact, and send a message that targeting their star comes with consequences. There's no protector on the floor, no one who can match that playoff level physicality and push back when things get rough. History shows that elite guards rarely succeed alone in that environment. They've always had support, players who bring edge, toughness, and a willingness to do the dirty work. That kind of presence doesn't just protect, it stabilizes the entire team. Right now, Indiana doesn't have that, and that's a serious concern. Watching Clark take that level of physical punishment and deciding to bring back essentially the same roster is a major risk. It assumes internal growth will solve what are clearly structural weaknesses, but development doesn't fix everything, especially not issues rooted in toughness, physical identity, and roster balance. Ignoring that reality could prove to be a costly mistake.
Multiple coaches now have deemed KK not worth playing, and it's not a Stephanie White thing. I do think she still gave more impact up to a point last season than Bree Turner, but what Bree Turner did the second half of the season, or the last 10 games, was better than anything KK did. So yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with what I'm saying? Do you guys disagree? Do you guys think Sophie Cunningham...
Right now, we're witnessing a direct collision between two completely different philosophies in the WNBA, and the contrast couldn't be more clear. The Golden State Valkyries have already shown the entire basketball world exactly who they are. By passing on Sophie Cunningham, they made it clear they are not interested in hype, headlines, or surface-level appeal. They're willing to ignore outside noise and make tough, calculated decisions rooted in analytics, fit, and long-term vision. This is a franchise building with one goal in mind: championship banners, not popularity contests or viral moments. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, the Indiana Fever are standing at a crossroads. They have a generational superstar in Caitlin Clark, a player who has already shifted the entire landscape of the league. The question now is simple but incredibly important. Will they act with urgency and build aggressively around her, or will they fall into the trap of comfort, choosing to run it back and hope internal growth is enough? History has shown time and time again that when you have a once-in-a-generation talent, hesitation can be costly. The teams that win are the ones that recognize the moment and attack it without fear. Playing it safe might feel logical, but it often leads to missed opportunities that never come back. Now the debate shifts to you. Did Golden State make a brilliant, forward-thinking decision by passing on Cunningham, or did they overlook a key personality who could have helped define their culture? And when it comes to Indiana, is running it back the smart, patient move for a young team, or is it a dangerous gamble that leaves Caitlin Clark exposed to another season of heavy physical play without proper support? Drop your thoughts, your breakdowns, and even your ideal trade ideas. This is where real basketball minds come together to debate what actually wins in this league. If you enjoyed this level of analysis, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Court Central, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's next. The off-season chess match is officially underway, the stakes are rising fast, and we'll be here breaking down every move step by step. Catch you in the next one.